everyone, it's Melody Snowflake, and I just finished Danganronpa V3, which means I finished all 4 Danganronpa games, plus the anime, so I've basically finished the main bulk of the series, though I do still plan to check out some mangas and side stories that I haven't seen yet. Anyway, as you've seen from the title of this video, today I'm going to be doing a character analysis of a V3 character, Kokichi Ouma. He's actually a character who I thought I was going to dislike, but who turned out to be one of my favorite characters of this game. He's up there with my other 5 favorite characters, and that's actually saying a lot for someone who I thought I was going to seriously dislike. So, today I'm going to be breaking down his character. Of course, spoiler warnings are definitely in order. Kokichi is someone who is very important to the plot, so talking about him is basically impossible without me touching on at least 2 major trials and chapters. So if you haven't finished Danganronpa V3, I highly recommend you finish the game first before watching this video, because the kind of spoilers that will be mentioned are extremely major, such as black-ins, victims, and major plot points. So there's your spoiler warning. Also, I will be talking about what has been revealed to us in the canon game, rather than my own personal headcanons or theories. So I'll be sticking as close to what has been revealed to us as possible. So this is not a video of me speculating on his character from a theory perspective, more of just looking at what we know and analyzing it from there, breaking it all down. So, with all that out of the way, let's get started. Kokichi Ouma, the ultimate supreme leader. At first, he is really hard to understand. He lies a lot, he does basically whatever he wants, and he seems pretty mischievous. In fact, I used to joke around and said he was the class clown of the group, and honestly, after everything, I still think he is. But there is actually a lot more to him than that, and we will be touching on that one by one. First off, Kokichi's emotions. It's not something that he actually displays publicly too often, or at least that's what he wants you to think. On the other hand, he does actually show his emotions more often than you expect. In fact, in many different scenarios, even in trials especially, he would sometimes get really emotional before perking back up and saying it's a lie. So, which one is actually the truth? Honestly, with everything I've learned about Kokichi throughout the game, I would say his more emotional side is actually the truth, even though he claims it's the other way around. How do I know this? Well, that will be revealed in due time. The second thing I like to talk about Kokichi is his intentions throughout the entire game. In general, he seems to be someone who's just out to cause trouble, right? Actually, no. That's all a facade. In fact, that's all something that he just wants you to think. He's just messing around because, like he said in one of his final moments, in fact, I think it is his final moment that we actually get to see him speak, he said that the game, he had to lie to himself to think that the killing game was fun in order to survive. Because in reality, he did not think a game like this could be fun. In fact, the people who created the killing game severely pisses him off. So, in reality, despite how Kokichi's been acting, he was not trying to cause trouble for the sake of causing trouble, nor was he actually enjoying or condoning the killing game. There are more things that Kokichi does later that actually prove this. Like, for example, in the 5th trial, or the 5th chapter in general, where Kokichi's entire goal was to stop the killing game one way or another. In fact, Kokichi actually tried to do that in the 4th chapter as well, though it might be hard to see what he was actually trying to do with everything else that's been going on. After all, he did manipulate Gonta, and that can cause a lot of hard feelings for us. In fact, even I was mad at him during that trial. But Was he really just trying to be, a troublemaker? Was he really just trying to manipulate people for the fun of it? Actually, I don't think so. To understand what Kokichi was actually trying to do in the fourth trial, we have to look at the motive that was given. It was a card key, and Kokichi, upon seeing it, just snatched it up and ran off, with Kaido running after him. But he eventually disappeared and found what the card key opened. When he opened the thing that the card key actually opened, he got a view of the outside world, and what he saw was an absolute nightmare. The sky was red and everything just looked horrible. In fact, learning the truth about the outside world was a very, very sad experience for anyone who would have seen that. And Kokichi is no exception. He realized what a nightmare the outside world is, and that if anyone goes out there, if anyone wins the killing game and graduates and goes out there, they would still suffer in the process. And yet, in this very building, in the Academy of Gifted Juveniles, they were already suffering. So there was nowhere out. Whether they were in the academy or outside of the academy, it was just going to be torture. So Kokichi, who was already sick of the killing game, thought of a way to end it once and for all. If everybody died, the killing game would end. But hang on, you might be thinking, that's no way to end a killing game. You end a killing game by killing everybody? What's the point? Well, the point is, no matter where anyone goes, they would be suffering. So, from Kokichi's perspective, the only way to relieve anyone of that suffering is for them to die in blissful ignorance. So when Kokichi found out that Miu wanted to kill him, he decided to turn the situation on its head. It's basically a Sayaka and Leon situation, and I might actually do a I used the wrong word, an analysis of Sayaka very soon, because she's a character I also want to discuss. But back to Kokichi, he decided to turn the situation on its head and use it to his advantage. Of course, if he was going to get everyone to die in blissful ignorance, the best way to do it was obviously going to be in a class trial, if no one got the right answer on who the Blacken was. So he wanted to turn the situation on his head by killing Miu and creating a situation where no one could figure out who the Blacken was. Except Monokuma, which means Monokuma would kill everyone and the actual Blackened would be left behind to take the burden of everything on their own. Kokichi said it himself in the fourth trial that he would have undertaken this task on his own if he could. But there was just one problem. Miu wanted to kill him in the virtual world, so knowing that someone's about to kill you will definitely set some alarm bells ringing in your mind. The intended victim would definitely want to fight back in some way, and therefore the person who wants to kill the victim will probably not let that happen. Kokichi knew that if he was going to try and kill Miu in the virtual world, it would be a really difficult, if not impossible feat, because Miu would surely devise some way for Kokichi to not be able to fight back or escape in any way. So, as much as he wanted to do it himself, Kokichi could not kill Miu on his own. But if he couldn't do that, then how was he going to carry out his plan? This is where Gonta comes in. Of course, I'm gonna say right off the bat that manipulating someone, especially someone who is more naive and probably more vulnerable to manipulation, at least in your own eyes, isn't a good thing to do, and I do not condone it in any way. But why did Kokichi choose Gonta? Is it just because he just wanted to use him because he was easy to use? Actually, I think he chose Gonta because he had no other choice. If he couldn't kill Miu himself, and he still wanted to carry out his plan anyway, what was he to do? He couldn't just go up to one of the others because they already didn't like or trust him at this point and just be like, "Hey guys, I need your help with something, could you follow me?" So he didn't have many options, did he? Even if he told them the truth about everything, it would mean not sparing them the truth of the outside world. But, and again, he did that with Gonta. But at the same time, even if he did tell someone, who would believe him? No one trusted Kokichi, and he was known and notorious for being a liar, and he knew that, and no one would trust him. I mean, if I just went up to you right now and said, oh, by the way, the outside world is completely destroyed, when the last thing you remember, well, it isn't, who would you believe? Your own memories or a known liar? No one would believe Kokichi. So Kokichi decided that the best way to get it done is to use someone else's intentions. So since Gonta also wanted to help someone else, and I guess since he was probably the easiest for Kokichi to manipulate, he went for Gonta. It wasn't right for him to do that, of course, but it was the only way Kokichi could see to achieve his goal. Because in getting Gonta to see the truth of the outside world, he was able to nudge Gonta to have the same mindset that he did. And Gonta willingly carried out the act because he thought he was helping. Kokichi pointed out that Gonta was willing to stay behind as the only survivor to bear the burden of the outside world by himself. But, to be honest, if you think about it, if Kokichi could have carried it out himself, like he said, he would have. So, technically, at first, he wanted to volunteer to be the only one left behind to bear that burden. And that's honestly kind of heartbreaking. But of course, we all knew that that plan didn't work out. And just before Gonta's execution, Kokichi asked to be executed alongside Gonta. He felt really bad for what happened. But then, directly after the execution, he laughed in a super evil way and asked, "What, you all believed my fake crying?" That really got me, and I'm sure a lot of other people, mad, because that was a time when we all wanted to believe Kokichi was being genuine, and he just said it was all a lie. Or was it? Like I said earlier, every time Kokichi expresses vulnerable emotion, it's his true feelings, and we can verify that by the fact that he's just wanted to help at the end of the day, and he hated the killing game all along. His claiming everything was a lie persona was the complete opposite of that. So we can verify from that when he's being vulnerable, it's how he actually felt. So Kokichi genuinely did feel bad about what happened with Gonta, and he genuinely did want to be sacrificed alongside Gonta. Well, not the word sacrifice isn't the word, executed alongside Gonta. But when that didn't happen, he decided that he should just cover his tracks. I mean, he didn't want to be seen like this. He had, as my friend Fire Art puts it, a villain complex, and I couldn't put it better myself, so I decided to include it. He didn't want to be seen as a softie. Oh no, he had to be seen as a supreme leader of a very evil organization. By the way, that evil organization isn't as evil as Kokichi says, but we'll get to that very soon. After his plan in the fourth trial failed, he still wanted to stop the killing game. But how to do it? He couldn't do the same tactic twice. And then that's when he thought, as much as it would be horrible for people to learn the secret of the outside world, if they did learn it, they wouldn't want to go outside anymore. Sure, they would suffer, but at least the game wouldn't continue and no one else would die. So he decided to get them to find out the truth. And he also decided to pretend to be the mastermind. This would throw the real mastermind off and hopefully stop the killing game for good. Unfortunately, the real mastermind, spoiler alert, Samugi, was not very happy about this, so she devised a plan to get everyone back on track with the killing game after Kokichi's little stunt. When his second plan failed as well, he devised a third plan, which would be his final one, because it would cost him his life. Getting everyone to die with blissful ignorance didn't work. Getting everyone to lose so much hope that they didn't want to kill each other anymore didn't work. So, his third plan was to get a trial to happen that even Monokuma couldn't solve. That way, the killing game and the trial itself would be irrelevant and therefore could not continue. To do this, he needed someone's help. But he didn't have that opportunity just yet, until Maki came along and tried to kill him. He was very surprised by this, of course, because everyone had been exposed to the flashback light that got them to think that Kokichi was a leader of the Remnants of Despair. But Kokichi had no memory of such a thing. In fact, he knew he was the leader of an organization, but it was called DICE, not the Remnants of Despair. So he was extremely surprised when Maki tried to kill him. But once again, he turned the situation to his advantage. Once he saw that Kaito also got injured by the poison arrows, he decided to hatch a plan. In giving Kaito the poison after pretending to take it from... the poison? What? In giving Kaito the antidote after pretending to take it from him... I am sorry, I'm doing this all in one take. He was able to endorse Kaito's help. Kaito really disliked Kokichi, but in doing the whole antidote thing, Kaito felt like he was indebted. So he ended up helping Kokichi carry out his final plan. Kokichi sacrificed his life in order to create a trial that even Monokuma couldn't solve. Of course, that didn't end up working either, because Shuichi was really good at figuring out the truth, and Kaito, in the end, just wanted them to vote for him. But it goes to show that Kokichi was just trying to stop the killing game all along, albeit through different and extreme methods. Kokichi was just trying to help everybody in the end, and that evil organization that he mentioned wasn't even very evil at all. DICE was, according to Kokichi's motive video that was revealed in Chapter 6, just a group of 10 other people who Kokichi worked with, and they were like his friends and family. They created mass mayhem, and by that, it was just harmless pranks. So, Kokichi had, like my friend put it, a villain complex. He liked to pretend that he was, in fact, the leader of a very big evil organization, when in fact, it's all just that, pretend. Kokichi is all talk when it comes to his evilness, because at the end of the day, he is actually more childlike than you might expect. I mean, look at his lab. Everything in there seems really comical and just for fun. In fact, when you narrow his personality down to this, you realize that he is actually just someone who's really mischievous and who loves to pretend. Sometimes his jokes, tricks, and pretending can go a bit too far, and his methods can be a little extreme. But he isn't a bad person in the slightest. He's just pretending to be evil. And as a result, he actually makes some pretty bad or extreme choices. But his intentions were good, and he just wanted to help at the end of the day. He just, is just really playful. In fact, if you play the game and do free time event with Kokichi, you realize that he actually likes games like rock, paper, scissors and other things. And he also just likes to pretend to be evil. In fact, he always says, "I'm going to kill you, Shuichi," every single free time you spend with him as Shuichi. But he ends up saying that he never actually wanted to kill him in the first place. In fact, messing with Shuichi like that was Kokichi's way of showing that he enjoys spending time with him. It's Kokichi's way of showing his friendship. So, at the end of the day, Kokichi is just a really mischievous person who likes to pretend to be evil and who honestly has good intentions deep down. He is also really emotional. So, that's my character analysis of Kokichi Ouma, and I'm really grateful that you watched to the end. So thank you so much for watching. Who's your favorite Danganronpa V3 character? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm probably going to be doing more character analysis of Danganronpa characters because they're all very, very interesting. And I also apologize if I stumbled on my words at all during this video because I'm doing all of these in one take because it's much easier to speak out my mind like that. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!